How you doing, you lovely lot, and welcome back to Marvel Contest of Champions. This video is all about Master Mode and a kind of a overview and a little bit of a few hints and tricks and tips with regards to X Enforcers event with regards to Master. Now, at the point of this video coming out, it's probably going to be about 6 days left to complete X Enforcers if you haven't already. And I thought it was kind of cool to go over some aspects of what was good, what was bad, and what was kind of a little bit ugly when it comes to Master Mode and what we saw this time as opposed to other times. As we know, the good aspect of it was the increased rewards when it came to these kind of like modes, heroic, but in particular Master. There seemed a big improvement when it came to the 4-star shards that were kind of lacking in previous ones. So it was really good to see an improvement when it comes to the overall completion. Obviously, we didn't see that with the 4-star shards, but we did see it on a point of exploration on the final chapter. When we completed it, we get the 500, as you can see now. Looking over social media, in particularly the Marvel Contest of Champions official Facebook, I did see a lot of criticism for the quest Permafrost, especially on Master Mode when it came to the stun immunity that Iceman had. Also, it was an issue when it came to Cold Snap. My personal opinion is that this may have been preparation for things that were going to happen in Act 5. Obviously, we've got stuff like a game mode where you were encouraged to fight off the enemy quickly, and so the quicker that you defeat, the less amount of damage it's going to cost you, and obviously the less amount of health potions that you'll need in future. But the stun immunity was the thing that was a bit of a nuisance. So the whole kind of way of battling that character was you had to think fast, you also had to evade more, and also not really kind of rely on your block or even using parry, for example. The whole kind of game dynamic is a little bit different. Certain things aren't, and I have noticed this, things like parry don't seem to be working quite as well as they used to. I do hope that they will bring that back a little bit more. I was finding at the point of trying to kind of put in a parry that it was not connecting, and I was pretty darn confident with my abilities to get that in as quickly as possible before actually being hit, but then it just turned into a block, which I did find a kind of, a little bit disappointing. When it came to a lot of the enemy characters going against just standard ones, obviously a lot of them have been chosen for certain reasons. Yellow Jacket's good because he does beam attacks. Obviously anything that, as well with Cyclops, can be quite difficult if you did want to have an idea of evading Cyclops's L1. I would probably say go over to Dorky Diggity Dave's video all about evading off Cyclops, because beam attacks can be a little bit difficult. That's why when I did my repetitions, I repeated back and went over certain sections in Master Mode, like going over Dr. Voodoo and also going over Unstoppable Colossus, because I felt that that was the easiest place to go. As soon as that Unstoppable hits in, then going back. I don't know if the bug is still there, but I did find at times that the Unstoppable was appearing up, boom, and then going very quickly. It wasn't kind of going through the full cycle of about 2 to 3 seconds as it normally does. So that was a bit kind of weird, but it was negotiable. The other things and the other kind of strategies that I used with this was just using certain, and I've always used the same characters, which was Ultron, Scarlet Witch. I've started implementing in Star-Lord, and also I've been using Black Widow and Captain America World War II. And they all have different reasons that I use them. So using against Hyperion was still a necessity, nullifying effects from using Scarlet Witch. Obviously, I haven't moved on from my days of still using her. I'm just not using her in a crit rate team, obviously, because, well, the game has moved on. And I need to move on as well. I will be employing more characters to be used for different things. However, I did find it kind of odd because we came at a time when Alliance Wars and Alliance Quest, and at the same time I can be using my my team in Standard Quest. So I don't know if Kabam have changed that ruling between, remember the times you used to have a Team A, a Team B, a Team C. Psylocke I found particularly easy. I just felt that she was bleeding quite well, so using characters again like Captain America World War II. I just like the blocking effect as well, the bleeding effect. And also getting in place my good old buddy Dormammu. He was very good at power burning, power locking, which a lot of the main elements of Psylocke is all about. It's all based on power. The less power the character has, the less trouble you're going to get from the character. It was only when it came to the last chapter and going through really tricky, and only on permafrost was this when I experienced a problem. On the Snowbird chapter or Snowbird mission, I did find that Iceman was easy. I did have to kind of, again, it's based on pace, quickly getting in, quickly doing damage. Main characters that do a lot of damage, I found. I think I used Miss Marvel. That's a rank 5 Miss Marvel, and found that to be a little bit easier. But it was when permafrost hit that there was a little bit of an issue. So what I want to do is I want to just go through some kind of experiences with certain champions running on the paths, and also talk about the big boss and also Iceman as well. Now, one champion that I like facing off against is War Machine. Really and truly, the best way that I utilize this kind of character from a point of taking him out is using my Miss Marvel. She is pretty amazing, and getting the enemy up to the L2 is, again, the best solution, because we wait for it, and boom, with the dexterity, there we go, the evade back. Bit of a mistake with rushing in again, but the fact is, create that power for this champion, build up that fury, get it right in there, and then as soon as we're ready, bang, just hitting in and job done. Crossbones is one of those characters that, I like using Scarlet Witch against him in things like Alliance Quest, but for the sole purpose of using him now, and there was a little bit of a mistake there, L1 seems to be the best way I like using to evade this character. L2 with the 3 projectiles, yes, you can do 3 swipes back and evade out, but I just like the method of using the L1. I find it a little bit more effective and have less to worry about. So that's what we're going to do. We just keep on building up to that L1, then we just retire back a little bit, wait a little bit, come back in, see what he's up to, and without fail, he should, there we go. And then again, we then build up again to the L1, hitting our L2, but unfortunately he does come back, but straight in with the block straight away, igniting that parry, which is great. L1 takedown, and the job's a good one with the L1 from us. Unstoppable Colossus is a champion that I don't know how and why. I did talk about this earlier, that he gets his unstoppable buff and it just goes, like we see it appear up and then it goes. So again, up, gone, unstoppable, gone. It was really odd to see the character fail so miserably, and I think this is maybe a little bit of an implementation failure by Kabam on this. Hopefully they've sorted this out, because I derect my Juggernaut based on them not knowing what they're doing with Unstoppable. It failed miserably. So same thing can be applied for this situation, just using Scarlet Witch, getting some luck when it comes to those buffs, plenty of the old regen, and pretty much easy with an L2 in a moment. That was a mistake there. That was a big mistake, and mistakes happen sometimes, so you've got to make sure you have to be on point. So Unstoppable goes again, very disappointing, and I didn't even hit the target to nullify the effect. Build up to L2, bang, and job is done. Hyperion himself could have been taken down so much more easy with characters like Dormammu. Obviously, I use Scarlet Witch. I'm still not losing her as a go-to champion, because she gets cruelty, and cruelty kind of appears for me once in a while. Hyperion, as long as I've learned him, I know him, and obviously that L2 is sweet as hell. Then Iceman, this is something, and I will slow it down a bit later on to show this. This is me using my Ultron on him, and it wasn't a great fight. It wasn't a great fight at all, but using stuff like that, evading the L1 was more effective, and this was one of my very earliest experiences where I played well. And all the other time I didn't play as well as I wanted to. This is the one that's got stun immunity, and you can see that not hitting in. I got the self-repair very well. Some evades that were very good as well, which I was quite happy with. But it was as well. I did have success with the L2, which we're going to see at the moment. And I will slow it down to just have a look at what I did. That was a mistake there, being hit. Very disappointing. Self-repairs up. First L1, there we go. So I did like rather than a hard evade, They were 3 very small evades, like little kind of swipes, rather than one complete hard evade. That was what I largely did in order to evade out the L2. I don't really advise evading out the L2. We're going to look out for some telltale signs with this particular Iceman to kind of give you an idea of what it is and the best way of kind of knowing when he's going to do it. Apart from obviously the screen going a little bit darker. But it didn't really kind of go any better than this, because I then took the full force of the L2, which you'll see in a minute, and it ended my time. Oh no, it was the L1. We hit him with a cold snap as well as the other degenerating buff, and we're done. This is the L1. As you can see, he kind of goes down to his bottom right, near to his feet, and that's a telltale sign. So when he's scraping up, that's your time to evade away. So down at the feet, scraping the ground, back. So that's the swipe there. And I do it on a hard evade. Hard evade. Right in that point. So you see him swinging round to the ground. So he's touching the ground. Hard evade. This is the L2. And this is when I did 2, 3. So this is 3 small kind of micro evades. So one evade there. Evade again. And evade again. Now, in some ways, I think you can do a light evade. And then one hard evade. But based on the amount of time taken for him to look up to the sky, I would recommend doing a light evade, a light evade, a light evade. So you'll do a light swipe, light swipe, light swipe. And that hopefully will get you away from the pesky 2-pronged attack. Now, most of the time, I don't really get much luck with that. And I felt that my screen's not particularly good. I really don't recommend the Sony Xperia Z5 anymore. It needs to be a good device. A good device will then respond well to your thumb swipes. So light swipe, light swipe, light swipe. Hopefully that's enough to get you out of the danger zone. As opponents go, I felt that Archangel was actually a little bit more easier. Based on the fact that we're doing it at the moment, using Star-Lord. Now, I did make a few mistakes with regards to L1, and I found that as I progressed on and used different characters, I think I was more keen on using power stealers. So Dormammu, even using Scarlet Witch again. The facts were that I needed to take the L2 because the L2 was easier to evade, as we saw earlier, and I will slow it down a bit later on, that it was easier to evade out, and it was kind of a case of 2 hard evades were enough to avoid the swings of the, and that was a bad move there by myself. I was trying to evade out the projectiles coming through, and because I wanted to make this as easy as possible for myself, and that's the thing, we want easy ways to do stuff, I found that when I was using my Scarlet Witch, which we'll see in a moment, that when the L2 came, I could get away. And I did find that regeners, power stealers were the best ones to go for. That's why Dormammu was a go-to character again. But like I said, power stealers, regeners obviously to stay alive longer, but power stealing is the name of the game, especially in master mode, as we could see there with the power steal with the character. And the advantage was, in order to push the enemy to do more on the lines of the L2, because obviously I needed Archangel to do L2, I found that by being blocked quite a lot of the time, the character had to break the block, so therefore we were building up to the L2 a lot more easier. So that's kind of a pointer there. If you find that the character's doing the L1 quite a lot, then stay blocked for a while and allow the character to come at you. And once they're doing the heavy attack to break your block, then hit in again and enable the character to get up to that L2, which I'm displaying now at the moment. So up to the L2, and then it's like 2 hard evades away, keeping that distance. As soon as I see unblockable come up, and that's the kind of the pointer, as soon as you see unblockable, which should happen there, as soon as you see unblockable, or as soon as you see the character go into a kind of a crunch down position, that is your point to get away. Obviously that's a good kind of indication of me doing the L1 evade, but it's easier, so much more easy to build up and get the enemy to do the L2. So what we're going to do now, as I've taken it down, is slow it down and have a look at this L2 in more detail. So there we go. So he tightens in. You see unblockable first, and then does 2 full swings. To give you an idea, those length of wings are still so long that they even show you there with the kind of the circular motion on the first part of the L2. You've got to get so much distance. Distance is key here with the L2, but it's a lot more easier, in my opinion, to get away and create that distance between yourself and the enemy in order to pick up the win effectively. So, very glad to have defeated this character, and yes, Master Mode is completed. If you have any other questions about Master Mode or want some extra pointers, then please let me know in the comment section below. Also, thanks very much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please hit that like button. Maybe share it with some people that are interested in some details of defeating these characters in Master Mode. And yeah, follow me on social media. Link is in the description below. I'm hopefully going to be doing some Act 5 at the weekend, so that should be good. And as always, I shall catch you on the flip side. Bye-bye for now.